Standover tactics, bribery, assault and murder. They're some of the elements to emerge at today's hearing of the Union's Royal Commission. The Commission is now investigating the powerful CFMEU and whether its officials accepted secret deals in return for construction contracts. Anne Barker reports.
Serving time and forced to appear, one of the first witnesses at the corruption hearing into the CFMEU explains why he fears giving evidence after he was assaulted in jail.
Why can't you comment on it?
Because I have a wife and 3 kids outside on their own and I just can't comment on it.
The Royal Commission is examining links between the powerful construction union and George Alex, described by counsel as a bankrupt Sydney businessman with connections to organised crime figures, including convicted terrorist Khaled Sharoof. It's alleged Mr Alex controls several labour hire and construction companies. One of his former company directors, Doug Westaway, told the hearing how CFMEU officials met regularly with Mr Alex and his former standover man, Joanne Toon. He was asked about a weekly $2,500 payment he'd been instructed to make and whether it was to the union. Mr Westaway said Joanne Toon once bashed him on the street when he'd refused to hand over the money.
He kept on screaming at me and telling me it was my last warning. And
did you sustain any injuries?
Yeah, I had 2 perforated eardrums.
Mr Antoon was shot dead a few months later. The Commission is investigating whether George Alex or his companies bribed the CFMEU to secure favourable industry contracts. The company's current director, Michael Cohen, was repeatedly asked if he paid the union.
Just remember what I said earlier, Mr Cohen, about the necessity to give truthful evidence in this commission. You remember we had that discussion?
Yes, I do.
And I want you to think carefully about your answers before you give them.
Sure.
Among the witnesses on day one was Khaled Sharoof's mother-in-law. It was her grandson recently pictured holding the severed head of a Syrian fighter.
Commission staff aren't saying who the next witnesses are. Many on the list have refused to cooperate with police investigations and are giving evidence here against their will. But if today's any guide, the next few days of hearings promise to be revealing and entertaining. Anne Barker, ABC News, Sydney.